Crypto Sensei. He's been pretty spot on a lot of stuff, and he's really diving deep on XRP as well.
Related news and information. Let's start here. BlackRock's Robbie Mitchell has predicted a range between $6 and $32 for XRP based on legitimate value propositions. I added these two prices to the XRP rich list so you can see what your portfolio would be worth if we hit these prices. And so here is $5 and $32 and how much XRP people own. If you are in the top, maybe like 10% here owning 2,300 XRP, you'd have about 75 grand. Of course, not earth shattering. If you are in the top 3 or 2%.
So yeah, top 3% owns 1.6 M in the future, but right now they own 141,000. So they used to own 11,000. So that's what I'm telling you guys about, to not compare the old prices of XRP, because the issue is you're comparing to literally when people had, you know, you were top 1% if you had $750. You were top 1% of XRP. Now you need $60,000. So actually 160,000. So that's why you shouldn't compare when XRP was 11 cents. You know, you were 11,000, you were top 1%. Don't feel too shy in that way. You know, imagine $32 is going to be amazing. I feel like there's going to be plenty of more holders and this data might change. But just looking at it, I don't look at 2017 data because it keeps on changing. But $32 is not that crazy to not hit. Again, it's going to take a few cycles, might take up to 8 years, might take 12 years. But it's a bit to say what is the correct outcome that we should buy. I'm not too sure because anything can happen at this point. Like, you know, the interest rate cuts, the ETFs, October and November is what I'm really bullish on.
You're talking about 500,000, 800,000, top 1%, only 50,000 XRP, 1.6 million. Obviously, people are hoping for higher numbers, but this is what the projections are. Here is that information.
Haven't BlackRock filed for a kind of XRP ETF? And is there any links between perhaps BlackRock and XRP and Ripple? And of course there is, in the form of Robbie Mitchell, who is the managing director at BlackRock. His official role is head of digital assets at BlackRock. He's been there since 2018. So after he left Ripple, at the same time he published this report to obviously the present day. I mean, he's a very impressive individual, which we'll look at in this one. So $28,000 compressed to trading ranges of $6 to $900 year to date at the time of publishing. So they actually think Bitcoin was undervalued back then. Now on to XRP, which you all want. And yes, you've seen that correctly. XRP's high estimate given in this paper by Robbie Mitchell is $32.91. Yes, that's right. $32.91 was given.
So these are just estimations, but if that happens, that would be very nice. Like $32. We're still far away from that, though.
As a high estimate price prediction for XRP by BlackRock's head of digital assets. This is worth listening to me read to get to this point. Their low estimate is $6.37.
I mean, pretty much we're so close to $6.37. It's not that scary. A lot of people are saying, oh, we're never going to get to $6. We are $3. And we saw, you know, in 3 months, XRP changed so much overnight.
Still 2x plus where we are today. This represents the potential value of XRP in the present value terms. If the success case is realized as a final step, we need to convert this into an expected value based on our simplistic binary model of outcomes. We assign a 25% probability to the XRP success case and assume XRP was effectively worthless with the XRP fail case. Therefore, and this brings it right down, the resulting fundamental value range of between $1.59 to $8.23 compared to the trading range of $0.49 to $3.72 year to date at the time of pushing. So the fundamental value range they're giving you is this, when they've factored in their case, which they're giving a 25% probability to. But the fact of the matter is that...
So 25% to get $32, $33 would be amazing, in my opinion.
They have given a high estimate of $32.91 here for XRP based on it being successful.
Is anybody thinking the same thing I'm thinking, right? As he's talking, what does it say right here? June 2018. This is at least 7 to 8 years old. At least, right? Let's just say it's June 18th when this whole thing was written. It didn't take him weeks or days or months to write it. It came out, he started writing it in June. It came out in June. It's over 7 years old. How much stuff has happened over the last 7 years, right? We didn't even have ETF demand. This is not even including any of that. We didn't have CBDC demand, right?
So that was an old document. Again, this is telling me why I shouldn't look at these price predictions, because there's going to be a lot more. What if the US government decides to buy $2 billion of XRP? You never know. That's why I don't look at those, estimates or algorithm or AI predictions, because they don't matter. So much stuff can change just in 1 to 3 days that you can literally change it forever.
Right? We didn't have private ledgers. We didn't have a lot. So like I would have added some additional context on this clip saying, hey, yes, there's these prices, but it's for 2018. Can we get an updated information, please, sir? Okay. Hey, all good, man. I guess, you're trying to make content. You go out and you make it. One more time. XRP Ledger just hit $1,000. What's your next move? What is your next move? Besides a car, a house, something nice for your loved one, vacation, maybe helping out your favorite charity. What are you doing with all that new money? Where are you going? I might need some ideas here. Me personally, I would like to, of course, help out my family. My wife and I would probably buy like a new condo here in Hawaii and maybe a house somewhere else. Maybe I get a nice flashy car. But I think about, where am I going to put this money? And how am I going to save it? And how am I going to turn this? How am I going to 10x this money, right? That's what I'll be thinking, Mike. Let me know what you're going to do. And why does Uphold keep hinting at $1,000 XRP? Like, man, Uphold and Jake Claver, they must be talking in the background. Like, hey, I'm going to hit him with the $1,000 prediction. You do it next week. All right, let's do it, guys. I don't know, man. Uphold frequently hints at $1,000 XRP as the way to spark community engagement. Oh, they're just trolling us. Great. And excitement. I'm excited. But these posts.
So each time Uphold posts about $1,000 XRP, it generates intense discussion, driving huge impression interaction on social media. Again, if you post like that this is going to go to $1,000, a lot of people are expecting that to be real. But XRP $1,000 is not real, in my opinion. It's not going to happen. The thing is, people are saying, oh, of course it's going to do that. Yeah, it's going to happen. No, it's just for hype. It's just for a community type of way.
Posts are not price predictions. They're hypothetical prompts that play into long-standing speculation within the XRP community. The $1,000 milestone has become kind of like a meme and a dream scenario for holders. Fair enough. Fair enough, Uphold. And then the Kwok brothers' vision for $1,000 XRP by 2030, 20 to 50 by 2026 isn't a dream. It's a warm-up round. Now, the reason also when you're talking about this Robbie Mitchnick 2018, you didn't have the EVM sidechain. You didn't have all of these new developers coming in. You didn't have Flare. You didn't have Midnight. You didn't have these DeFi layers being built out. You didn't have, basically 2 or 3 billion XRP left on exchanges right now.
And there's also a big supply shock, right, of XRP. There's a big whale buying all of exchange supplies, which basically means there's a very low supply on there, which keeps a lot of people very happy in that way. Smash that like button, guys, if you haven't already. I really appreciate that. But yeah, that's what we're hoping for, is we're seeing the exact movements of $32. Like $1,000, we're still far from it, because I feel a lot of whales would sell. But $32, I mean, 1-2 cycles, if we already got from 20 cents to $3 with so much money in the market, who says it can't be possible? But first we gotta, if you want to get to $32, first you gotta hit $6, $5.
Play into long-standing speculation within the XRP community. The $1,000 milestone has become kind of like a meme and a dream scenario for holders. Fair enough, Uphold. And then the Kwok brothers' vision for $1,000 XRP by 2030, 20 to 50 by 2026 isn't a dream. It's a warm-up round. Now, the reason also when you're talking about this Robbie Mitchnick 2018, you didn't have the EVM sidechain. You didn't have all of these new developers coming in. You didn't have Flare. You didn't have Midnight. You didn't have these DeFi layers being built out. You didn't have, basically 2 or 3 billion XRP left on exchanges right now. You didn't have all the ETF demand. There are a wall of things that are going to just mollywop these predictions, in my opinion. But we'll see. You guys let me know what you think. Unknown DLT says if XRP ETFs are approved at the same time in October, they will push the price to such high that institutions will be able to use it for settlement mechanism just before the global implementation of ISO 20022. You are not prepared for what is coming. And just to give you some additional context on this, US SEC schedule to rule on multiple ETFs October 18th through the 25th. If approved, XRP would join Bitcoin and Ethereum with the only cryptocurrencies in the US with regulated ETF products. Firms with filings reported include Bitwise, 21 Shares, Wisdom Tree, CoinShares.
Again, these are all ETFs companies that are going for XRP ETFs.
Canary Capital, Franklin Templeton, and Grayscale. Remember, Carry Capital, Mark McClung believes $5 billion could go into spot XRP ETFs in the first month. $5 billion at current prices obviously would be over $1 billion XRP, $1.5 billion XRP bought off exchanges. There's only 2 or 3 billion left on exchanges. What are they going to be buying after that? Right? If we get 20, 30 billion, the price obviously.
I mean, if you get 20 to 30 billion, I'm pretty sure some whales will sell at that point. Like, yeah, you can get to 30 billion, but a lot of the whales will end up selling this. The ETFs, though, they're pushing for this, new wave of to break this barrier. XRP is in a small market dip, as you can call it, but they're really trying to go ahead and push 10 times down on it.
Is going to have to keep going up, up, up. I got what's it called? K-pop Demon Hunters in my head. I do apologize. Some market competitors believe approval could drive significant institutional inflows, trigger a major rally. Price predictions from $10 to $50 by end of year through mainstream. And
I mean, these ETFs, they are like our best hope right now.
Analysis, caution over overhyped expectations. Always a good thing. Despite ETF excitement, some financial firms and analysts note that the modest institutional capital has entered XRP so far in 2025, and price surges are not guaranteed. Talks about ISO implementation, ISO 20022, a global financial link standard. Messaging has been adopted by banks and payment networks worldwide to modernize and standardize payments. For U.S. banks, Fedwire ISO 20022 went live July 14, 2025. Fedwire does process $4.3 trillion a day. The full global SWIFT transition to ISO 20022 is scheduled for November 2025, pushing institutions globally to comply. XRP and Ripple have positioned themselves to take advantage of this new standard for instant, data-rich cross-border payments, already serving banks like BBVA, a 700.
So yeah, this partnerships, this is what we are pushing for. Again, as I've been saying on this channel, guys, if you are new, a partnership a day really brings XRP together. It's really what makes it stand out. There's a lot of great projects just like XRP. The issue with them, YouTubers have been talking about it, I have not, is they cannot sustain the type of commitment that XRP has. XRP can withhold like 10 years without selling their tokens, like at this point, if they're still profitable. While other companies, they do not have those connections. They do not have those partnerships. So they're not going to, just suddenly get that money and a type of hype like 100 billion market cap like XRP.
172 billion Eurobank, Travelex Bank, and others. The ETF decision window coinciding with the ISO 20022 global migration has fueled for further speculation. Regulatory green lights are meant to support global payment system upgrades. It does talk a little bit about the thing. And then you start to wonder, does Trump know something, right? He keeps hinting, but he probably wouldn't be hinting at the thing that they're really going to do, right? He's gonna distract you. Most politicians, presidents are very good at the distraction. If you're going to be
so digital assets, they already were talking about it, they're hinting about it, and now they're doubling down on it.
Adopting a technology, the last thing you want to do is have a ton of people pile into it before it's adopted. So you tell them something else.
Who knows, maybe we'll pay off our 35.
Back into the market when it dips. Why the price don't go up, even good news. That's because it doesn't have that big push yet. Like, why, if there's no new buyers and only one whale is buying and one whale is selling, of course the price is not going to go up.
$1 trillion, hand him a little crypto check, right? We'll hand him a little Bitcoin and wipe out our $35 trillion.
But how do you want it to be more prominent in America? How will that work?
Oh, it's going to work easily. It's already prominent. It's moving along. It's very loosely regulated. That's one of the reasons it's moving along. But it is a different form of a currency, and it's going to end up benefiting the country. But if we shut it down, like, Biden's trying to shut it down, Biden doesn't have the intellect to shut it down. Can you imagine this guy's telling you to shut something down like that? He has no idea what the hell it is. But if we don't embrace it, it's going to be embraced by other people. It's a massive thing already. Did you read where it's big?
All right. And of course, Simon McLaughlin says,
so listed among the biggest XRP holders, this just confirms that, the thing with XRP right now is what we are seeing is the big institutions are holding, I would say at least the majority. like majority of XRP. That's because they are preparing to sell it off later. At least that's my opinion, right? It could crash. But it's very clear at this point what's going on is they're investing into the future.
Most of the XRP listed on Uphold is customer assets. They don't belong to Uphold. There's not a lot of XRP left on exchanges, guys. This is where price appreciation can really come in. The post highlights how centralized exchanges like Uphold often appear on lists of large XRP holders, but the assets shown are owned by exchange customers.
Hasn't like there been companies buying small supply of Ripple itself? I also saw that.
Not the company.
They have also been buying some of the stocks
itself. Simon McLaughlin, Uphold CEO, is emphasizing that the exchange large on-chain balance of XRP reflects customer trust and custodianship, not speculation and company holdings. Where's this going to take us over the next few years? I'm excited. I think we are well positioned to take advantage of this transformation in global finance. And XRP.
All right, so let's say XRP, Brad rejected an DC Powell ready to cut. Again, we do have some bad news about Brad Garlinghouse. Smash that like button if you haven't already. But again, we are looking, Federal Reserve set to resume interest rates cuts to concern over labor market. I think it's 1:50 USA time. So 7:50. Okay, we're going to see what happens with the interest rate cuts. September policy meeting on Wednesday. So this is probably, once this video is out, it's probably already here. I'm going to be watching it live. But yeah, the interest rate cuts is really what's pushing crypto forward. And it's going to not really affect the price as much as XRP ETFs.